This is the future.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sigval Green here and welcome to another tier list. It's been a long time since we made a damage dealer only tier list and we got quite a few damage dealers added since then, so we might as well get back at it. I put over here kind of every single character that you might consider building as a damage dealer for one reason or another at some point. Also keep in mind, in theory, any legendary character in the game can be a damage dealer if you choose to give him Beta Club and Brainiac and Raven, but we're not really regarding that. You'll not see any legendary character unless they got a specific inclination towards being a damage dealer, regardless of that specific synergy. Also, we have the whole classic team here, because there's really not much that makes any of those guys be the one who has to be the damage dealer. In theory, any of them could be as good as damage dealer as the other if you so choose to use this team. And yeah, the other thing that I'll keep in mind is I'll only care about raids and soul raids, because in Arena and Champions Arena, anything can do well, and you might as well build your teams for raids and soul raids and just play with them in Arena and Champions Arena regardless of how good they are over there, because anything works in Arena and Champions Arena, so only raids and soul raids will be kept in mind here. Then there's gonna be the Beta Club side of things. Look, Beta Club is an artifact that a lot of people don't have, I do understand that, and let's just say it, it's a pay-to-win artifact. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But I'm going to rank them at max performance, so I'm going to rank them as if you had Beta Club, but after I'm done with the tier list, I would tell you what changes in this tier I would make if I was to disregard the Beta Club. So with all that being said, let's get into it. Let's start off with Raven. Raven can be an amazing damage dealer herself, because of her passive and the synergy with Brainiac. She is, funny enough, the best character in the game by being the best damage dealer in the game and the best support character in the game at the same time. Now, she's gonna be reliant on Beta Club, so most people who don't have Beta Club are obviously not gonna use her as a damage dealer, and she's gonna end up being used as a support character. But Raven as a damage dealer is really amazing and kind of the best damage dealer in the game, literally. So she's definitely gonna be S tier over here. Now, another thing that I would like to put into S tier is going to be Manta. Again, a heavily reliant character on Beta Club, and as I said, I'll talk about those rankings differently at the end, how I would have ranked them without Beta Club. But this dude, and again, we're talking about maxed out characters, because there's gonna be a huge difference between a 3-star Manta and a 6 or 7-star Manta. I think Manta is the character that, out of all the characters on this tier, maybe Heartbreak Harley Quinn is gonna kind of fit the same category, because her passive also increases by a ton with the star rating, but she's easier to max out. Out of the legendary characters that are released in this tier, this dude is going to have the highest scaling with the star rating. Like, if you got a 3-star Manta, it's gonna be like a B tier, but if you got the 6-star Manta, oh boy, that's gonna heavily slap. Obviously not at the level of Raven. I'm trying to kind of sort them out also in the order of how good they are, though I'm not sure how good I'm gonna be at that, but I'm gonna try my best. Next up in the S tier, we're going to have Batman Ninja Catwoman. So again, heavily reliant on Beta Club, and this thing is going to sometimes deal more damage than Manta with Beta Club, sometimes deal less damage than Manta with Beta Club. I think I'm going to put her here in between Manta and Raven. I think she might or might not. Nah, I don't think she deals. I think Manta is just slightly better, but again, there could be an argument to do this. It doesn't really matter that much, but yet again, amazing damage dealer with a lethal that she receives from Batman Ninja Robin, and all the buffs that she receives from Grods. Something quite menacing. And the last character in my book for the S tier is going to be... do we even give Heartbreak Harley Quinn S tier? I'm not sure if she fits with the rest of them all the way up here. Because the thing is, when she gets an optimal fight where the character is going to be stunnable, she's gonna deal tons of damage. Almost matching those guys here with Beta Club without her having a Beta Club, so that's amazing. Yeah, I think we're leaving her here. And a lot of times she's gonna be paired up with Raven, so that's also a thing to consider. But yeah, tons of damage. Also against very passive level dependent, so she's gonna heavily scale with the level of the passive, so there's gonna be a huge difference between a 3-star Heartbreak Harley Quinn and the 5-star one, where the passive is maxed. so that's another thing to keep in mind. But if the target is stunnable, she's gonna destroy that. And also she can be paired up with Raven. Even if the target is not stunnable, if you play well enough, you can still pair her up with Raven for huge amounts of damage. And yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for the S tier. Moving on to A tier. We're going to have Kinflint Sakumen. Look, I know some of you out there. And if you think Kinflint Sakumen is better than Raven, I mean, there's an argument to be made for all those three dudes. Still not an argument I would agree with, but there's an argument to say that Kinflint Sakumen is better than all those three dudes and gals over here. But if you're saying he's better than Raven, I wholeheartedly do not agree. If you want to give King S tier, it's fine, but I'm just gonna put him at A tier. The thing is, he's highly dependent on the target having high health. The more health a target has, the more damage he's going to do. And it's gonna be a very reliable character because anything is gonna take damage from percentage damage, but again, kind of reliant on the amount of health that the character is going to have. And while he's gonna have other ways to deal damage outside of his percentage health damage, his percentage health damage out of the three characters that will have a mechanic that has percentage health damage is going to be the weakest because it's going to be delivered in 3 instances of damage. So that gets heavily reduced by the let's say damage cap on characters. He kind of uses Beta Clap too, but is not heavily reliant on it. He's gonna be fine without it. I'm going to put here Batman Who Laughs. Batman Who Laughs is one of the newest character we got actually, and yet again he's going to deal percentage health damage, and he's gonna deal it in a slightly better way than Kinflint Sakumen, because yet again is going to be a lot of separate instances of damage that he's gonna deal. So yet again you could make the argument of just doing this. But it's gonna be even more reliant than Kinflint Sakumen on the target having high health, because yeah, King just does so much more without relying on that percentage damage compared to him and Deathstroke. And talking about Deathstroke, so it's a very simple way to take a look at those dudes. Does nothing but percentage health damage. If that's not a good thing in that fight, he's gonna suck. Does something and percentage health damage, though most of his damage is gonna come out of percentage health damage. Does mainly percentage health damage, but can hold his own very well because of his passive throughout the duration of the fight. And that's why I think, while looking at those three characters, this is the way you would rank all of them. But yet again, if you're going to rank them on the efficiency of the percentage damage inflicted, is gonna be something like this. So it's up to how much health the fight has. If you're gonna fight something that's gonna have 2 billion health and you're going to use all of them without Raven or any too heavy outside help, like no Brainiac for those two dudes and no Raven for Kinflint Sakumen, if the target's gonna have 2 billion health and the damage cap, it's gonna look something like this. If the target is not gonna have a damage cap or have lower health, it's gonna look like this. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. Okay, what else is gonna be in the A tier? Last of Joker. So the thing with Last of Joker is Harley does far more damage where the targets are stunnable, and Harley arguably does more damage even when the targets are not stunnable, only by basic attack hits, because she still has 3 fast attack hits. Even if she's not able to stun, this dude has just 2 fast attack hits. But this dude can deal a ton of damage with Raven himself, and in some fights he leads to far more smoother gameplay where Harley is not unable to stun, and it's pretty much the optimal choice to use him. And without Raven, he's gonna be a decent damage dealer himself, and a lot of you guys are going to use him until you get Gears for Heartbreak Harley Quinn, because that's quite a hassle to acquire. And I think that's gonna be as far as A tier goes. Next up, moving on to B tier, we're going to have Silver Banshee. Some of you argued that I should put Silver Banshee at a higher tier, alongside with the big boys, because there's kind of no fights that she struggles against. Like, Black Manta and Kinflint Sakumen are notorious for being able to damage anybody, and same goes right now for Deathstroke and Batman Who Laughs, I guess. They're notorious for being able to do that, and usually Silver Banshee follows quickly behind. Like, the problem is she doesn't pull as much damage as any of those dudes that are going to be there having an optimal gameplay in any fights. But she's still gonna pull damage no matter the situation, but I'm sorry, her damage is just not on par with the other stuff on this tier. On this tier over here, so I'm just gonna put her to B tier, but I do love Silver Banshee. Next up in the Silver Banshee tier, it's gonna be Justice Flash and Justice Superman. Look, like, honestly, I'm also almost inclined to give Just Like Super. I think we're giving him C tier. The thing is, Just Like Superman might arguably deal less damage than Just Like Flash, because this dude's got 4 fast tech hits. He might have all that more damage because Batman is there, but it's hard to compete with 4 fast tech hits instead of 2 fast tech hits. And this dude is a pain in the ass to acquire and gear up. All this dude is in the arena seasons with gears in the arena store. More people are gonna have this, more people are gonna use this, and he pulls more damage. This dude is better in situations where you might struggle a bit, and it's not gonna be the most optimal scenario because he's more durable, but this dude pulls more damage. And previously, I might not even put him in this list or put him here and this dude here, and that was because previously this dude kind of had to go with Black Manta. Just Like Flash kind of had to stay with that Black Manta side to provide him that additional fast tech hit. But that's not gonna be the case anymore because now we get Vixen, which is an alternative if you have Beta Club, but if you don't, still Just Like Flash, nope. And now we get Classic Wonder Woman as well, which is also gonna be a good alternative regardless of if you have Beta Club or not. Also, I haven't mentioned Beta Club in a while because none of those characters are really Beta Club reliant. Okay, next up, what do we have here? Multiverse Armored Supergirl is gonna also be B tier. I mean, this dude might pull in some scenarios more damage than Multiverse Team, but Multiverse Team might pull in some scenarios more damage than him. It's gonna be yet another reliable team that pulls some decent damage where other teams are going to... our top tier teams are going to shit their pants, for example against Collector vs Superman. And it's a very reliable team in league rates against Captain Cold. It's a team that you might be able to easily build if you catch the Multiverse Armored Supergirl arena by any chance. Yeah. I do like the Multiverse team, though, with the mention that it's gonna deal by far the least amount of damage if you give all of those this tree the optimal fight to deal their utmost damage. This one here is gonna deal the least damage, so you could make an argument to drop her here because of that. But I'm just gonna leave her here. Now, Collector vs Superman. I hate this dude. I have a deep hatred for this dude. So the thing is, this dude can be an okay replacement for Manta. If you don't have Manta, and nowadays if you don't also have Batman Who Laughs, because if you don't have Manta, you can just give Brainiac to Batman Who Laughs, but if you don't have Manta, you can pair this dude up with Brainiac, and have a little bit of a 6 damage to your team. That's gonna be kind of easy to acquire because he's in a challenge. But his gameplay loop is ass every single time. No matter what I do, no matter what artifacts I use, no matter what boss I fight, every single time, the gameplay loop of this man is a huge undertaking. It's just so frustrating and so hard to play him correctly. And I wouldn't care, like, Black Manta is also hard to play. This dude is far more annoying than Manta to play for a few reasons, but this dude... I don't mind characters being hard to play as long as I'm getting rewarded for it, but with this dude, you get average results for top tier investment of effort, and building him is gonna be irrelevant as soon as you get yourself a Black Manta. It's gonna deal some damage, it's gonna be a good replacement for some time until you get Manta, but I just don't like him. If you think giving him C tier is biased, it might be. I just hate the dude, okay? Deal with it. Now, also Grodd, I'm gonna put Grodd here. He's also gonna be something you could use in some scenarios where you put this dude with Brainiac and Batman Ninja Robin and you put Beta Club on him, and he's gonna have a pretty decent time dealing some pretty decent amounts of dot damage. That's a thing. That's a thing that can yield some decent results. There are not that many scenarios in which you should do that, but that's an okay thing to do in some scenarios. Now I'm just gonna drop all of these into D tier and I'll explain myself in a second. I'm gonna first up begin with the classic theme. So look, I honestly don't even have that much of an idea of how much damage the classic team does. If we were to put them at how much damage they do, it'll be something like this or most likely like this. And they're gonna have all 3 of them because each one of them has the potential of being a damage dealer because none of them is really inclined specifically towards being a damage dealer. But the biggest problem with the classic team is that they have Classic Wonder Woman in it. And why is that the problem? Isn't she amazing? Yeah, that's the problem. She's an amazing support character. She's so good with the additional crit damage that she provides and crit damage that can exceed the cap. She's so good that you're never gonna use her with the classic team. You're gonna use her with Manta. Or maybe some other teams, but mainly with Manta. And she's gonna be so good that she's going to add more damage in the Manta team by being in the Manta team than how much damage the classic team would have been able to do with her in it. It's gonna simply add that much more additional damage to Manta, more than the classic team would be able to do. She's just an insane support character, and that's kind of the downfall of the classic team. That's why I put them all the way to C tier. And if you're not gonna use classic Wonder Woman, just use the 2 dudes. Not gonna have a good time. Then we have Predator, Batman, Black Adam. They are characters that can be built as damage dealers to some extent. They can do an okay job to being be an okay damage dealer. Black Adam in some specific scenarios can even match the damage of the Multiverse team. But at the end of the day, they're simply just budget damage dealers that don't pull that much damage and stuff that's you might build a bit at the start of the game, but as soon as you get other resources to replace them, they are going to be useless. Sadly, that's the truth. I have my Black Adam at level 70 gears. I love the dude. I highly enjoy playing him, unless he misses the percentage chance for a 6th time on Special Tree while I'm in Phase 4. In that specific scenario, I hate him, but mostly I love him, but he kinda sucks compared to the other dudes. Same deal with Predator Batman. But yeah, this is kind of the tier list. Again, it's not the perfect one, and I don't hold the absolute truth. So let me know in the comments if you got a different opinion. And now let's tear this down for the non-bet club people. So I'm gonna put them right back after I do the move, because some people are gonna skip towards the end. And if they skip towards the end while I'm doing this, it's gonna look weird. So first up, Black Manta, if you don't have the Raven, if you don't have the Beta Club as damage dealer, is gonna do something like this. Like, without Beta Club, I think the S tier no longer exists. Everybody moves down a tier that is in S tier. So you would have Raven going like this. Let me put her right back. You'd have Black Manta going down like this. Or maybe all the way like this to an extent, arguably, but I think this would be a safe spot to put him. But Ninja Team maybe going all the way like this. Heartbreak Harley Quinn going all the way like this, being like the top one of this tier. Yeah, like if I'm gonna put them at their specific place without Beta Club in the tier, Catwoman would be somewhere around here. And Manta would be like also somewhere around here. Just trying to be as specific as possible. And I think that's about it for the Beta Club. Just the S tier doesn't exist anymore, and everything goes down a tier. And you get all those 8 dudes in the new S tier that's gonna be formed. And if you got this conglomeration of the character in A tier, you could argue for Joker going a little bit down, but let's not be mean to Joker, okay? Let's not be mean. And other than that, King would stay in the same tier, but maybe go a little bit like this. I don't know, but he's not that dependent on the Beta Club, but you get the idea. We simply get no S tier, and those guys just go back in the A tier. And maybe you make this the new S tier, and then A tier, B tier, C tier, whatever. You got the idea. But yeah, all that being said, this was my tier list for the top damage tiers in Injustice Mobile. Again, let me know in the comments if you disagree. That's totally fine. I don't hold the absolute and utmost truth in the world. Let me hear your opinions down in the comments. Let me know if there's any damage dealer that should have been in this list and you're not saying it. And don't say Primal Swamp Thing. I swear, I'm gonna block you from future comments on this channel. Do you want to lose that privilege? I'm kidding, but don't mention Swamp Thing or Cheetah. That's not the thing. They're not damage dealers. With your all being said, thanks so much for watching and goodbye.
This is the future.